So you've decided to live the good life on Canada's west coast and move to beautiful British Columbia. If you're moving from out of province, you'll want to stay tuned as I'm about to cover some of the things you'll encounter that you might not expect. And welcome back to my channel. I'm Rita, and my job is to help you make an informed decision about your aspirations to relocate to Vancouver Island. If you're new, make sure to subscribe so you're always kept up to date with my videos, and like this video before you go. You'll want to stick around till the end though, because today I'm discussing some of the differences and things that you'll want to consider when relocating from another province to BC. The first thing on everyone's mind, of course, is home prices. When looking at bigger cities, Toronto's home prices are actually quite higher than Vancouver and Vancouver Island. BC does still have some of the most expensive real estate in the country, which you'll feel most coming from provinces like Alberta with much more affordable housing prices. So before you get swept away by the idea of moving to the West Coast, be prepared because you might encounter some sticker shock. Another thing someone moving from Alberta might find alarming is what we in BC call property transfer tax. In Ontario, this is called land transfer tax and is broken down as follows: 0.5% on amounts up to and including $55,000, 1% on amounts exceeding $55,000, up to and including $250,000, 1.5% on amounts exceeding $250,000, up to and including $400,000, and 2% on amounts exceeding $400,000. If you're purchasing in the city of Toronto, you'll be charged additionally 0.5% on property value amounts up to and exceeding $55,000, 1% of the total property value exceeding $55,000 and up to $400,000, and 2% of the total property value exceeding $400,000. In BC, this is called the property transfer tax, and like in Ontario, is the buyer's responsibility to pay upon completion when the title is transferred. Property transfer tax in BC is as follows: 1% of the fair market value up to and including $200,000, 2% of the fair market value greater than $200,000 and up to and including $2 million, and then 3% of the fair market value exceeding $2 million. If you're a first-time home buyer in BC and purchasing a property as your primary residence that's under $500,000, you could qualify to be exempt or partially exempt from paying this amount, but make sure that you check with your mortgage broker and real estate agent on this. So if you're moving from Alberta to British Columbia, make sure that you factor this into your closing costs, as Alberta currently only has the land transfer registration fee, which costs a base of $50 and an additional $2 for every $5,000 of the property value, and the mortgage registration fee, which costs a base of $50 and an additional $1.50, but for the mortgage amount. So let's break that down for a moment. On the purchase of a $600,000 home in Ontario, your land transfer tax will be $8,475, and if you're purchasing in the city of Toronto, an additional $8,475. So you could be paying as much as $16,950 on these tax amounts. In BC, for that same home, you'll be paying $10,000 in property transfer tax. And in Alberta, where you will not be charged this tax, on a $600,000 home with a $30,000 mortgage down payment, you'll only be paying $511. So on to the topic of dual agency. This one can be a little bit confusing for consumers, but dual agency is when an agent, a real estate agent, will act for both the selling side and the buying side in a single transaction. As of June of 2018, BC no longer allows dual agency in the province, except for very strict and narrow exceptions. The reason is that it's very difficult to act in both parties' best interest when you're representing both sides. In a real estate transaction, the client, or you, enters into agency with the realtor's brokerage, and then the brokerage will assign your realtor as the designated agent. So you can still have two agents within the same office work on the same transaction. BC is the only province to have banned and dual agency, and all other provinces allow it, but in most cases require written consent. Lastly, one more thing that came into effect in January of this year is British Columbia's rescission or cooling off period, where consumers have 3 full business days after an offer is accepted to rescind their offer with a penalty of 0.25% of the purchase price, and the rescission period cannot be waived. This came at a time when the market was crazy and people were submitting offers with no subjects, so the government just added this extra layer of consumer protection. So make sure you discuss this rescission period with your realtor when you're writing an offer on a home so you really understand how it works. I hope this video has helped you gain some knowledge on what the process of purchasing a home in BC looks like and some of the differences if you are moving from out of province. And if you have any specific questions, make sure you get in touch with me by visiting my website, www.ritafraser.com. And there you can also download my free guide, Questions to Ask Your Realtor When Buying Your First Home. Now that we're at the end, please like this video and subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.